We're going to do a quick install video on our Defender headache rag. Has been a real popular product that we've been selling here lately. We've been getting a ton of questions on where wiring goes and just kind of what the easiest, simplest way it is to put it on a machine. So we're going to go through here and just do a quick walkthrough, show you what comes in the box and how we typically install these machines, what we wire them to, and how you access some of that wiring. So here's the headache rack. It's going to be packaged up, boxed, have a lot of protective cardboard and stuff around the actual powder coated rack whenever you get it. Wires, we've already got these pulled off, but they look very similar to the other side whenever they come out of the box. So everything's all pre-wired through the tubing on this particular order. This has got the Black Ops 2500 winch, synthetic lead, got a toggle switch here on top for in and out function, and then also a wireless controller to use when you're not near the rack. So just real quick, we're going to take a couple bolts off of this machine, get this set up there, and kind of go through the tightening sequence and getting it all installed on there. Here's some of the hardware. If you want to check this out, Sky, this is what's going to come in the box. I've got all these kind of pre-put together, but we've got some long bolts for the top, especially with people with door hinges, need a little bit extra thread to go through those hinges. And then some people will require these shorter bolts, some won't. Particularly on this machine, we do have to use them. So this is going to go on the lower mounts on there. We'll kind of show a little bit closer whenever we get to that point. A couple of extra nuts. Some people need them, some people don't, depending on the option. And then I got some just real simple hand tools here to take the hardware off and get this installed. So I'm going to take a couple bolts out real quick and we'll get this thing put on the machine. And one thing is, you can leave the door shut on the machine, and that'll keep your bracket really close whenever you're doing these uppers. Do not open the door afterwards, or it's going to come crashing down on you. And the only thing supporting it's this lower hinge at the moment, but we've got it shut, so this bracket not going to go anywhere. Make it easier for us to line it up. You can reuse these bolts. These bolts are not as strong as the ones that we send in the kit, the factory ones. If it helps you to maybe line it up, or if you're trying to do it by yourself on there, you can reuse them for the time being, but we do send hardware that is stronger for that. And this machine has been rolled over on this side, so we are going to see possibly some fitment issues. I think our rack has enough tolerance inside of it that it shouldn't be a problem, but that is why that door is hanging out. It's got some bent up hinges on that door set. If you want to walk it over, get up top and give me a little slack. Right there. And just go. Move out. There you go. We're just going to get this a couple of threads in, because I know that other side's going to be a little more difficult with that messed up top bracket. So Mickey, if you'll pick up, there we go, perfect. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now we've got it just sitting up there. Nothing is tight yet. We're gonna go ahead and put all the hardware in, all of the bolts. That way we can get it centered up on the machine, lined up, everything good. All the threads are clean, and get tightened up. this snugged up. Now we're gonna shut the bed. Make sure no wires in the way. And then I'm just making sure that it's gonna be centered up. It looks okay on the machine. Nothing's sticking out or off to one side too far. Maybe touch more. Common question that we get all the time on these: do they fit audio roofs? Yes, most of them. On the audio roofs, as long as the roof does not overhang the back, you kind of see on the side a little bit better. As long as the roof doesn't overhang the back off of the cage itself, yes, it'll fit just fine. The ones that have the long overhang, we do not have a solution for that. Ours is intended to fit the factory roof or any of the roofs, like the this one's got the factory jail audio system on it, some of the Rockford system on it. Any of those, as long as they're flat on the back, it will work fine. If you need to send us a text message to just know for sure, just please take a side profile of your vehicle at the back. We can tell you for sure if it's going to fit or not if you have any questions. We got the rack all mounted up, everything's tight, hardware's good, centered up, looks good on it. So now we're going to do the wiring on the machine. All the fenders, if you have a crew cab, it's under the passenger seat. If you have crew cab is rear passenger seat, single cab would be front passenger seat, but battery is right behind that cover right there. It's super easy to get to. Flip the seat up, you've got some quarter turn pins on either side, and make sure and hang on to those, and then just finagle this out. I'm going to set it off to the side. Battery is right here accessible. Most people should already know that. One thing that people do have a lot of questions with is, where do you run the wiring through? You can see in this floor hump right here, we're going to take this apart here in just a bit for our light pod wiring as well, but the main chassis harness for this vehicle actually runs, you know, from the front with all of your electrical connections to get to the back. All of it runs underneath this panel here, and you can see the engine compartment through here. There's no grommets, there's no nothing. You can, you know, if you don't mind doing it or small enough hands, you can stick your hand all the way through there and someone from the other side could see it. Very simple to run the wiring into here, and you've got a pretty large cavity to tuck any excess wiring or, you know, make it look as nice as possible on the back side. So right in here is where we're going to come through with our power, our ground, and both of our light pod harnesses. We're going to bring those through right there, and we'll show the connections at the battery and how we make it to the front side of the vehicle to put our switch in for our lights. First things first, I always like to start with our thickest wiring first, and we're just going to route this right down here underneath the air box. If you need a little bit more room, you can just take that shock loose for the bed shock and give you just a touch more room. But this wire right here, power and ground for the winch setup, I'm just gonna run it right down here. Make sure I'm gonna stay away from everything hot. There's already factory wiring harness for the fuel pump connection mounted up to the I guess it's called a firewall on the back side. I'm gonna zip tie to that just to keep everything clean and out of the way. But we're gonna route this harness down and kind of follow that same factory pattern. And once we get to here, drop down, and I can see the opening in the firewall that we were talking about on the inside, so I'm just going to go ahead and shove those wires through right there. And there it is, sticking out on this side. So I'll just pull that harness in. Let's clean up our slack back here. Make sure all that's good, then just do the same thing with this side. through the light flood harness. I always run the thickest wires first, just kind of out of habit. It's not really required in this situation, but if you got a small cavity, all the thick wires go in first and the smaller wires are generally easier to get through it. So, and you can see how much slack we give you in this harness. Granted, I don't have it zip tied up yet, but we still have enough slack that we're going to make it all the way to the underside of the front seats on this particular machine. And then we have the harness that comes with these rigid lights that are going to plug into these, make them plug and play, and we'll put our slack inside the dash area when we wire it up. And I like to make sure this wire is going to stay where I want it to stay, so I'm going to use probably excessive zip ties, but I'd prefer it to never move. Don't want anything getting snagged when the bed drops down and catches the latch, and nobody likes an electrical problem, so this will help prevent that. Some customers I have seen will actually drill a hole in the back side of this panel a little bit lower down. I think that's kind of doing a lot extra work when you already have that pass through in the center of the vehicle and you have enough wire for it, but it does look really clean and cut the wires exactly to length. Does look really good, but I don't think it's necessary for any reason. I'll leave the zip ties along so you can kind of see the routing of it, Skylar, and just get an idea. I'm gonna go grab my cutters, but if you just want to kind of show the routing just underneath that air box. So always cut your zip tie ends off. It looks goofy when they're not. Use flush cuts. Make sure nothing sharp. You don't want the next person reaching down in here and having a razor sharp zip tie tag, snagging them. No one enjoys that. And then we'll go to the other side and get that one pulled in. This side's a little more tricky just because you do have the exhaust running through there. So what I like to do is run down through here. You can see there's a little bit of a cavity right here, so I'm going to tuck this wire up right behind that and feed it over to the top. I'm gonna squeeze by here and get this side. And you've already got some wiring ran up over in this direction that we can follow down, so I think that looks nice and clean out of the way. No one would know it's there. Drop down and follow the CV tube. And then we're gonna cut across and we're gonna go through that hole before we get to that front exhaust manifold, so that we can keep away from as much heat as possible with this wire. There's also a drive shaft down here, so you don't want to have any slack. Everything needs to be zip tied up when you're going through the middle. Okay, so we got both quad lights pulled through. Just need to secure it in the back now. A super dirty machine we got here. So power and ground right here for the battery, and then our two leads are going to go under this panel once we pull these clips up and run it to the front. On the kit, we don't have it on here yet. We're waiting on some parts to come in for this particular machine. He's getting some other things done, but this would also come with a circuit breaker, resettable circuit breaker. You don't have to worry about swapping out fuses or anything like that, but keep it protected. That'd be on the power side. So you've got your circuit breaker would be attached to here. You'd have another lead come off. I always prefer to go to the stud on the side. If you can see right here, you got plenty of threads. That's where most of the connections are. Your top one, these have a habit. This one, you can see this one's loose right now. We've never even touched it, but I don't want to put any more terminals underneath this bolt if I can help it. Nice of Can-Am to put that stud there to be able to attach accessory points to. But we're going to tighten this up for him, make sure that's good, clean this battery off a little bit, make sure the electrical connections are good. But I'll go to the studs on both of these sides whenever we put that circuit breaker on here. But negative on the outside, positive on the inside. The battery also shows you right there if you have any question. Red to positive, black to negative. That's how we wire all of these up. Harness for the lights, I'll go over that real quick since we're not going to wire this one how we normally send the lighting. This guy's getting some light bars and a couple other accessories that he wants specifically wired up differently than how we would normally send this kit. So I'll unplug it and show you where we would normally go with that and the easiest way to wire it up, the routing and all that good stuff, and the switch that it comes with. So whenever we ship these out, we put them in a little baggie. There's some extra wires in here that come with the winch kit, the instruction manual, a plate, some stuff that's not used, but it's your winch, your product, we're gonna send it for you. Here is the remote for the wireless controller. Go ahead and pop it out. We bench test all of these before they leave as well. So we hook up a battery to all of the terminals on there, make sure that the wireless controller's working, make sure the switch is wired up correctly, everything's functioning the way it should. So every one of these headache racks that goes out the door, they are tested before they go out to ensure that you're getting a product that works as soon as you get it. This is the harness that Rigid sends with their light pods. This is a switch that they send as well. A couple quick questions that we have had on these. It's pretty simple on them, but if you don't know, it can be confusing. On all the leads, they all come with the terminals just like that. You got two reds and then you have two blacks going to one terminal. On the switch, the gold plated terminal is always the ground. You can wire either of these up in whichever way you want. Not really going to affect anything, but the ground needs to be on the gold terminal. That allows the LED inside the switch when you have it turned on to function correctly. So we're going to go ground there, and then our reds just populate the other two sides. With the harness, it's got a fuse integrated into it, and then you've got another power and ground setup. So most common way for people to wire these up, you run this directly to your power and ground, you run this lead up to the dash. It's a 3/4 inch hole saw for this to fit inside your dash, and you can put it anywhere you want. I've seen some people put them on the roofs of factory roof machines that still have the plastic roof, so if they're standing in the bed, they can turn the bed lights on and access them there without having to get out. It's completely up to you wherever you want to put it. 90% of people are going to go in the dash. We're actually going to do some modification to this harness, and we're going to put a flip switch into it, into one of the factory knockout spots, and put it along with the light bar that this machine's getting in the front. But again, super simple, really just wiring, getting your wires to where they need to go in the machine is the hardest part of this install. Your weather pack connectors directly to the wires that we ran in the middle, those just snap right in. They can only fit in one way. They've got a retaining clip on them, nice rubber surround to keep water out. Real nice quality harness from Rigid. Very simple, but like I said, power and ground, straight to the battery, switch to wherever you want it. You got plenty of slack for it to go anywhere in a crew cab machine, and that's how we intend for these to be wired. Obviously we're not doing it this way on this one because of the upgrades that this customer has, but I just wanted to give you a good general overview of how that looks. And we're going to go on to pulling up the floor panel, getting some wiring pulled to where we need it to, and that should wrap up this install, and we'll come back and show you the operation of the headache rack, how simple it is, and especially with the wireless remote, that's a great feature for this winch here. So let's get that floor panel pulled apart. Okay, so I'm gonna pull the floor pan up. These tools are super nice for doing that. They make significantly cheaper versions of this. I couldn't tell you how much these cost from Matco, but I'm sure it wasn't cheap. Just a 90 degree and then a straight on to be able to let you get the plastic rivets out. People use flat blades, it works fine. Just this kind of helps from not marring the plastic pieces up so much, but they just go straight on. It'll lift it up a bit, pull it out. If the middle comes out, that's perfectly fine. All of these will release without having to pull the center out. These recessed ones are always a little harder to get into. And when they come completely out, that's what they look like. So this just snaps in, expands the bottom, and allows it to hold into the other plastic piece. And there's the recesses on either side that you're trying to get to release them. And then your floor section comes out. 3 pins, real simple. Here is where we were talking about earlier, all the main wiring harnesses running. So factory loomed harness, that's what we're gonna zip tie all of our wiring to, and then we're gonna cut underneath the dash, go over and up, and get to our switch accessory location right there. The dash is completely open under these machines for the most part. Don't wrap wires around a gas pedal or brake pedal or anything like that. Just kind of use good judgment when you're running your wires, but the machines are super simple. They come apart real easy. This actually has a pass-through as well for getting to under the hood from down here. All your AC lines, depending on if your machine has that or not, kind of run through that section as well. So they're relatively easy to pull apart and get everything through. This is a simple weekend job for 99% of people. They're going to order. As long as you can lift the headache rack and put it on the machine, it's everything else from that point on becomes significantly easier. So that's about where we're gonna cut it off for this. We'll pick back up once we have everything wired up with the extras that he has, and then we'll show you how the operation of the headache rack works, and kind of go over a couple of features with that as well. But that's a very general overview of how we like to wire these on 2 machines when they come through the shop, so you can do it at home in your garage. Hey guys, so we got the headache rack wired up, installed obviously, and just gonna go over a couple of quick things to hopefully answer some questions that some of you may have on how we kind of intend for this product to function and travel and be on the machine. When you order the Super ATV winch, you get a wireless controller. Super nice, put it in the glove box, put it on the keychain, wherever, keep it with the machine. Works really well on here. We also put in the supplied switch with the winch that goes up here in this little notch. It's got a in and out option right on the front of it. Down is in, up is out, but that gives you access to be able to use the winch in the bed or standing on the tire next to it, guiding the animal in, or whatever you're using the winch for. But everything working and operating straight from there. And then we also have on the wireless remote, if you need to turn it on, it goes into a sleep mode. You're just going to hold the in and out button until the red LED pops on in the middle, if you can see that there. That turns on. Now the winch will work. It will time out on itself and shut it off to conserve battery. and then you can also repeat that process to turn it off if you don't want to accidentally hit a button while it's still on. But same thing, in and out. Works no problem. For a lot of people do ask us about the back hook hitting the glass. If you leave the winch out, obviously it can swing in, hit the glass. We purposely have it set up this way to allow for you to, if you'll turn your hook in and run the winch in and get your rubber stopper right there and just put a little tension on it. So we're not like hurting the rope, we're not doing anything like that. But now this hook, side to side, it's not gonna hit the bar, it's not gonna make any noise, it's not gonna give you any issues. Don't worry about busting your glass out or anything like that. Just put a little bit of tension on it and it'll stay exactly where it needs to. Just face your hook forward, and that way if it does swing any, it's just side to side. It's not gonna make any noise or anything like that. We do have customers that have asked us to weld D-rings on their particular order in certain spots, and doing that. That's perfectly fine. My opinion is a D-ring is going to make noise going down the road, metal on metal. So if you want a D-ring on yours, we're happy to put it on. If not, this is kind of the easiest, simplest way to make sure nothing gets damaged and you're not hearing any noise when you're bumping down the trail. The lights on this, it might be kind of hard to see. I've got them adjusted 2 different ways. Audio rooftops like this is about the only person that's going to really have any necessary needs of modifying the light mount on it. But Rigid makes a really cool mount that can be put on a couple different ways. If you'll notice, this one's a little bit taller than the other side, if you can see that. I've got the mount switched around in there. These can rotate all the way down, angle in, and get into the bed. I've got it pretty loose right now, but I would cinch it up to where I can still move it, but it's not going to be moving around while the vehicle's operating. But you can see clear directly into the bed. You can bring it out, face it up, have a rear light for when you're backing up or just needing to work out of the back of your machine. And then we can also slide it all the way over. And we can get, with an audio roof, we can get almost to 90 degrees. With a factory plastic roof, you can get out even forward-ish of the vehicle a little bit. But just a Allen wrench and a 13 millimeter to tighten everything up, and you've got all the adjustment you would ever need with whatever roof system that fits on there. But for when we send them, we like to tighten them up just enough you can still physically move it, but it's not going to be moving around on you while you're going down the trail. We've got switch wired up in the front of the dash for it, so you can access that. You can wire it to constant hot power, and as long as you have the lights turned off, they're not going to give you any battery draw issues or anything like that. The winch is obviously wired to constant hot. The contactor is what controls its in and out. As long as the winch isn't moving, it's not going to give you any battery draw issues or anything like that. So another thing that we did do on this customer's, and we're happy to do it for other orders as well, is this has got the customer's own logo put into it. You can request that, send us a file, we can cut it into there if you want to kind of personalize these headache racks to make them fit your machine a little bit more. We're absolutely happy to do that as well. There's tons of other add-ons for these machines, such as go light mounts, thermal camera mounts, the kind of whatever you would like to put on this, we would be happy to do that. But other than that, guys, that's how it operates. That's how we kind of intend for it to be used. That kind of hopefully answers some questions about the hook. There's a ton of people asking about the back windshield. So as long as you've got your hook cinched up, no problems there. But we appreciate everything, guys, and look forward to doing some work with you. Thank you.